Like us, Mama said. That was true. They came for religious freedom, I added. They came so they could worship God as they pleased. Mama's eyes lit up. She seemed to understand. Do you have any other homework? She asked. Yes, I said. I have 10 arithmetic problems. They're hard. Do them, she said, and then go out to play. I'll make the doll for you. I'll make it tonight. It'll be ready for you in the morning. Just make sure it's a girl doll, I said. Naturally, Mama replied. Who ever heard of a boy doll? I didn't bother to explain. The next morning, when I sat down at the table for breakfast, the doll was at my place. Maybe she had started out as a clothespin, but you'd never have known it to look at her. Mama had covered the clothespin with cloth and stuffing. She had made hair out of dark brown yarn, and she'd embroidered eyes and nose and a mouth on the face. She had dressed the doll in a long, full red skirt, tiny black felt boots, and a bright yellow, high-necked blouse. She had covered the yarn hair with a yellow kerchief, embroidered with red flowers. She's gorgeous, Mama, I managed to murmur. Mama smiled, satisfied. But Mama, I added slowly, she doesn't look like the Pilgrim woman in the picture in my reading book. No, Mama said. She looks like you in the photograph you have that was taken when you were a girl. Mama smiled, turned into a laugh. Of course, I did that on purpose. You did, Mama? Why? That's a pilgrim, Shankate, Mama asked. A pilgrim is someone who came from the other side to find freedom. That's me, Molly. I'm a pilgrim. I was sure there was something wrong with what Mama was saying. She was not the kind of pilgrim mystically or the reading book had been talking about. But it was too late to make another doll now. All I could do was take the only one I had, to school with me. Most of the dolls were out on the desks. I carried mine in a little paper bag. I put it inside my desk without even taking it out of the bag. The bell hadn't rung yet. Elizabeth and Hilda were walking up and down the aisles, pointing to the dolls and whispering. When they came to my desk, Elizabeth said in a slow voice, Miss Stickley's going to be mad at you, Jolly Molly. She doesn't like people who don't do their homework. I did it, I muttered. Well then, let's see it. I shook my head. You didn't do it, Elizabeth taunted. You didn't. I opened the desk and took out the paper bag. I closed the desk and set the bag on top. Slowly, I pulled out the doll. Oh my goodness, Elizabeth sighed. How can anyone be as dumb as you, Jolly Molly? That's not a pilgrim. Miss Stickley's going to be really mad at you. Miss Stickley's going to get you this time. My face felt hot as fire. I looked down at my desktop. The bell rang. Elizabeth and Hilda rushed to their seats. I shoved the doll back into my desk. After morning exercises, Miss Stickley began to walk around the room just as Elizabeth had. She looked at each one of the dolls. Why, Michael, what a magnificent headdress! Where did you find so many feathers? Sally, she's lovely. Such a interesting face. Such beautiful gray silk, Elizabeth. Yours is a very rich pilgrim. I think she's the best so far, Elizabeth said. Well, She's very good, Miss Stickley allowed. Then Miss Stickley came to me. Without looking up, I pulled my doll out of my desk. I heard Elizabeth laugh out loud. "My goodness, Molly," she cried. "That's not a pilgrim. That's some Russian or Polish person. What does a person like that have to do with pilgrims?" "She's very beautiful," Miss Stickley said. "Perhaps Molly just didn't understand." I looked up at Miss Stickley. "Mama said," I began. Elizabeth giggled again. Miss Stickley put her hand on my shoulder. "Tell me what your mama said, Molly." "This doll is dressed like Mama," I explained slowly. "Mama came to America for religious freedom too. Mama says she's a pilgrim." Elizabeth hooted. She wasn't the only one. Miss Stickley marched up to the front of the room. She turned and faced the class. "Listen to me, Elizabeth," she said in a loud voice. "Listen to me, all of you. Molly's mother is a pilgrim. She's a modern pilgrim. She came here just like the pilgrims long ago, so she could worship God in her own way, in peace and freedom." Miss Stickley stared at Elizabeth. "Elizabeth, do you know where pilgrims got the idea for Thanksgiving?" "They just thought it up, Miss Stickley," Elizabeth said. "No, Elizabeth," Miss Stickley replied. "They read in the Bible about the Jewish harvest holiday of Tabernacles. I knew that holiday. We called it Sukkos." Miss Stickley was still talking. "The pilgrims got the idea for Thanksgiving from Jews like Molly and her mama." She marched down the aisle to my desk again. "May I have your doll for a while, Molly?" "Sure," I said. "I'm going to put this beautiful doll on my desk," Miss Stickley announced, "where everyone can see it all the time. It will remind us all that pilgrims are still coming to America." She smiled at me. "I'd like to meet your mama, Molly. Please ask her to come to see me one day after school." "Your doll is the most beautiful, Molly," Emma said. Emma sat next to me. "Your doll is the most beautiful one of all." I nodded. "Yes," I said, "I know." I decided if Miss Stickley actually invited her, it was all right for Mama to come to school. I decided something else too. I decided it takes all kinds of pilgrims to make a Thanksgiving.